next day I woke up anxious and just overwhelmed, and like I just couldn't handle like the simplest things, you know, which is frustrating. And since then, most of the week last week I spent really working on just resting and really trying to like be in tune with my body, because my 3 older kids were gone, and so I only had my youngest, and got better. I had some good days, some days that were a little harder. But so it feels like my adrenals are just burnt still. And so I'm pretty sure I can like pin the anxiety on that, and just I have the anxiety where it's like the tightness in my throat, and I get different types of anxiety, and I feel like now I can figure out what is what. And the last 2 days have been better. Last 2 days have been better, except that yesterday I came down with like a stomach bug out of nowhere. And so I don't know if maybe it was just related to everything that's going on. Nobody else has it yet. So, but it was awful. And then I took activated charcoal as soon as I got home. We were at a friend's, and within 30 minutes, my stomach felt so much better. So do you think that was the activated charcoal doing that?
If you have a tummy bug, and if it's a parasite, or a lot of the not good bacteria are what we call like the gram-negative bacteria. And so these gram-negative bacteria are the opportunistic ones, they're the pathogen ones, they're the not good ones. And so they often have, in their shell, they've got those lipopolysaccharides that I talk about quite a lot. So these lipopolysaccharides are very, very inflammatory in the digestive tract. And they can also release a whole bunch of other stuff that can cause inflammation. So the activated charcoal is kind of like this cloud that comes along, and it kind of absorbs all the toxins that these bacteria are releasing into your gut. So for sure, it can help to get them and then carry it out the body. So activated charcoal is amazing for food poisoning.
Amazing. I mean, I was so sick. I don't remember the last time I've been that nauseous, and just I took it hoping it would do something by the morning. And within 30 minutes my stomach was feeling better. I wasn't perfect, but so it was good.
What do you think the food poisoning was from?
I don't know. It was just yesterday I was feeling pretty good. I woke up feeling good, and I was like, yes, the anxiety is manageable and I'm doing good. And then later on in the afternoon, I just kept feeling weird. And so I'm like, man, is it coming back? I kept feeling like I was almost getting like a hot flash, but not quite a hot flash. And then we were at a friend's, and I was like, I think I'm coming down with something. And it wasn't anything that I feel like I ate differently or, so I don't know what it was.
Sometimes those of us that have had digestive issues or had sensitive stomachs, we will be more prone to picking up things that others might not. So you're still in so we've been cleaning out your digestive tract of SIBO and other different kinds of bacteria. So, and with all the different variety of food that you've been having, you have been strengthening your microbiome. We've still got a little bit of work to do from there. So as time goes by and having all the different diversity in your food, and we'll get you on some prebiotics and then later on some probiotics, this just makes you stronger and stronger and stronger. Right. And then it becomes, so this stage has been like the cleaning outy stage. And then the next stage is the rebuilding and also crowding out stage. So even if you've got some other bacteria in there that we still don't want in there, it's not so much still by trying to kill, it's crowding out. So then there's not as much space for them to grow, just like with the garden. So if you take care of the garden with the grass and the plants and give them some healthy stuff, there's not really much space for the weeds. If you neglect the garden, then the weeds can kind of take over. Similar sort of concept from there. So you will get stronger and stronger for sure. And then there can be different things that cause the anxiety as well. So one of these things is this lipopolysaccharides. So this activated charcoal is something that you can take it doesn't fix something, it's like a symptomatic relief stuff. And it's a little bit of an over-exaggeration that you've got to be careful with it binding to all your nutrients. It doesn't, to a small degree it does, but not so much what Dr. Goodall might say.
Okay.
There was a lovely podcast episode with Narala Jacoby on the SIBO doctor. I think his name is Greg Nye, and he owns his company is the Quicksilver company, and he talks a lot about activated charcoal in there if you wanted extra stuff. So and to take
go ahead.
That's okay. Other ways to take activated charcoal. So if you feel like you're having like a sensitive sort of time, you can take 1,000 milligrams of activated charcoal half an hour before meals and then an hour after meals. And so that can help to mop up anything that might be in there before you eat, and then it can help to mop up anything after you eat.
And were you saying I could take it if I'm anxious too, or were you just mentioning like?
So one of the reasons it's
right, because of the bacteria. Okay.
Yeah, so the lipose polysaccharides are super inflammatory. So if they're causing inflammation in your digestive tract, and if there's still some leaky gut, I feel like yours is healing. So in the beginning, there was quite a lot of leaky gut. So if there's the leaky gut, then the lipopolysaccharides can get into the bloodstream. So then they can cause inflammation body-wide. And then we also have the blood-brain barrier, which is similar in integrity kind of to our gut barrier. So then if the gut-brain barrier is leaky, then the brain can become inflamed, and that can feel like anxiety as well. So different things can cause. So sometimes the anxiety isn't even to do with the adrenals. So sometimes it can be to do with I can pretty much put everything back to the digestive system. But so if these lipopolysaccharides are all around, then the activated charcoal can bind them and help to get them out.
Okay.
Ooh.
Test that out and see.
Yeah. So one way to kind of know is if your anxiety levels increase after food, then it can be from bacteria.
Okay.
Do you think it does? When is your anxiety the worst?
Sometimes I feel better. I feel like I needed to eat, like almost like a blood sugar type of thing. I never get like shaky or anything, but sometimes I feel better when I eat. But now that I'm thinking about it, I think I do. This last week or so, I have felt a little weird after I would eat. Sometimes the anxiety would start coming on. I'd be, where did that come from? So yeah, I need to pay attention to that.
Yeah, so maybe just keep doing the activated charcoal is not going to interact with anything. It's not going to do you any harm. So that's pretty easy to do. Another thing with foods is histamine. So when I had SIBO, I think I had very, very leaky gut. And I discovered I had issues with histamine stuff, which I don't anymore. And I noticed it one day after. So when I was going through it, I didn't have the knowledge I have now. So I would restrict so much on my vegetables. So I remember one day I came home from yoga and I was just starving. So I ate 2 cans of tuna in a row, just plain tuna. That was the only thing that I ate. So I knew that it had to be that tuna. And that canned seafood especially is quite high in histamine. And the symptoms that I got was I got really bad anxiety. My heart rate was like, I could feel my heart beating in my chest. And then I got a super bad headache. And then I had insomnia. So those were my main reactions from there. So that can cause anxiety as well. Okay. How's your energy?
It's been okay. It's still been holding. I would say probably at a 6 or 7. Last week, right after I came off the Alimat or the antimicrobials on Friday, I was so tired. Saturday, I was tired. And so I'm like, I don't know if maybe that was like the stomach bug coming on or what, but I feel a little bit, I'm still tired today, but not like I was. I don't feel like I have to close my eyes. I just felt like I wanted to close my eyes and rest the whole day, but today's been a little better, and today's still been a stressful day. But
yeah, where's your energy today?
I would say 6.5. Not quite a 7, but it wasn't terrible.
Yeah, so that's really good. So even amongst all this, your baseline is now a lot higher, which is wonderful. Yeah.
That's true.
Cool. So in the times where we're easily triggered or easily overwhelmed, this is my life learning as well, is not to get so busy. So when I have taken on too much, I look at my goals for my goals for my ideal day-to-day life. And I don't know if I've talked to you about this before, but my coach calls it the divine life mission statement. So very, 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 very high in my list of priorities is waking up every day with energy. So that trumps going on a surf trip, that trumps going out on a date, that trumps everything is waking up with energy. So then when I have these goals written down on paper, it makes it easier for me to say no to things. Because then I love doing things. There's so many fun things to do. Like whenever I come back to Canggu, I need to be very careful of not saying yes to everything, because otherwise I get tired. Because this friend wants to go to sunset, this friend wants to go for surf, this friend wants to go for dinner, this friend wants to do that. And I would love to do all those things, but I know if I did all of those things, I would be tired. So then I think come back to my goals, and my goal is to have lots of energy. So then in a loving way, I'll say, I can't do that right now. I might suggest something else. And it feels gentler. And it doesn't feel like FOMO, it feels like JOMO, the joy of missing out. And so then
it's just so hard, I know. And I honestly, like, I don't do much. Like, I'm pretty good about staggering things that we have going on. And like, my husband is the one that's like, go, go, go. And so that's why I think I get down on myself, because I'm like, I'm not even doing that much. Like, I know I didn't even have my older kids last week. You know, I had one child, and I'm like,
yeah.
So yeah, that's what frustrates me when I feel like I can't handle the basic things. You know.
Adrenal stuff is probably the most frustrating out of all the stuff, because it takes longer to heal. And then our adrenals can get us through and carry us through. And it's like those people that work 8 hours a week, and then as soon as they go on holiday, they get sick. It's like, so as soon as you give your body some time to, it's been like a kind of, when you acknowledge just how much your body has been getting through, then it's like, oh my gosh, you've seen me, thank you, now we can rest. So there's a bit where it feels like it goes a lot slower. On the inside, there'll be a lot of healing happening, and then you'll naturally start to come back from there. So the fact that it sounds like the anxiety is not as overwhelming as it was. It's still a little bit there, but it is better. And then your energy, I think what did you tell me, like a 2 in the beginning? So couldn't get off the couch, play with the kids, have that. So you've definitely improved. And just knowing that your adrenals are going to need a little bit more love than someone else. And then also, we don't always know that it's especially social media, it's very easy to compare our lives to someone else's highlight reel. So stuff that most people post on social media is the best part of their life. So it's very easy for us when we're feeling crap to compare the worst parts of our lives to the best parts of their lives. And that just makes it really hard as well.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
And then also just with those plans as well, it's okay to change your mind too. And what helps me is if I had a friend that I truly cared for, and if they were to cancel the plans, how would I feel? I wouldn't mind at all. I would say that's really good. So we often put so much pressure on ourselves that other people wouldn't put on us. So it's totally fine to change your mind.
Yeah, that's true.
And how's your digestion?
It was off as well. This last week I had a lot of bloating and was just having a hard time going to the bathroom, but it's regulating now. I feel like it's doing much better. But I felt like at the same, everything at the same time, my stress and anxiety, it was just like everything was falling apart. So
yeah,
I think everything had 2 decent days. So I think everything's starting to mellow out.
Yeah. Another thing I thought of, so you've got 4 wonderful kids. If you could outwardly observe one of your children being super, super tired, and they wanted to go to hockey and play baseball and go to ballet and do all the things, as a loving, nurturing mum, you might say, let's choose a gentler sport for today, and maybe let's have an early night tonight. How about we have a nice bubble bath and go to bed early? It's often a lot easier to think about what we would do for somebody else than for us in the moment.
Yeah.
And then with the digest, all the things, it's totally, if we can pay attention to this bit, it's better than any supplement or herbal thing or whatever. Because when we're in fight or flight stress mode, it's so hard to see anything outside than that moment that we're in. But just remembering that when we're in that fight or flight mode, if you are fighting a tiger and then you see a lovely meal sitting over there, what's more important? Your body is going to focus on fighting that tiger. That meal is not important right now. So then your digestion shuts down, your stomach acid doesn't get produced, everything goes down. It's a lot harder to digest our food. So sometimes this bloating isn't even to do with food. It's to do with like how the body can receive the food. That's one of the things. And then so I am helping you a lot with this physical stuff. And I know some emotional stuff, but it's okay. I think it's a wonderful idea to create like a little bit of a dream team. So you can have different people that do different things. So if it's like I've got an energy healer. I love her. That's Kirsty. She's amazing. So I have that twice a month, and I love it. It's so good.
Yeah. And I was seeing, a counselor, a therapist for a while. It's just, I think, and I know like if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. But I think like financially, that's one of our big stresses right now. And so we're just like, I don't know. So I know like I probably need to find a good one that's along the same lines. I don't know. Yeah. I really liked mine, but she just, I don't know. I need somebody who understands kind of like the health world I'm in.
Yeah. So. There are people that do specialize like in people that have had digestive stuff because they kind of can relate, and it's always very nice. I don't think someone has to have gone through that. Financially, so when I was going through SIBO as well, like I was financially stuck too. So I invested in working with someone that knew a lot more about SIBO than I did at the time. But then for other stuff, I swapped a lot. So I have my naturopath stuff. So I could swap my naturopath consults for sessions with someone else. I swapped naturopath sessions for someone to help me build my website. I swapped naturopath for something like that. So if there's anything that you have in your tool bag, swap. Yeah. With a nice reach out to someone, and you can just have that. Be someone else in your financial situation than a therapist that might not have great finances but can help you with this.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's true. I'll think about that.
Cool. Okay. The swim part. How's the swim part done? Are you finished the drop?
I think that tomorrow was gonna be my last day. I'm super nervous. I just don't see how I'm gonna possibly be able to maintain this weight. I'm just like, oh my goodness. Because even when I while on the diet, if I ate a little bit more, or if I slipped up again and had some tortilla chips, and I would gain. I mean, the other day I weighed 117 pounds, and then today I weighed 113. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, because I've been really strict these last few days. Very, just.
Say that again. So the other day you were 117 and today you're 113?
Yes. Literally in 2 days it went down that much because I I was just eating the right amount, and so I'm just nervous. I'm like, how am I going to be able to stay at this weight? Because I'm just so comfortable here, and I'm like, I just don't want that all that. It's like almost 12 pounds, and on my short little frame, that's a lot, so.
I know. So you started at 125. So that's amazing. It's a super common thought. Everybody has it. I had it myself. The first time I had it, and I increased my calories to my maintenance calories. I was like, oh my God. And the scale was exactly the same. I was like, what did I understand it? But I really love it. Oh my God, it's amazing. Okay. It's such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful process. And in this bit, I love both stages, but in this bit, you're absolutely going to learn what your body loves. And this will change over time as well. So your body's still in the healing stage. So the stronger and stronger that your body gets, the more and more foods you'll be able to tolerate. So as we kind of transition into this bit, you'll just be going very slow and steady, and you add in the different foods and you monitor the weight on the scale. So remembering that your metabolism has been burning through between 2,000 and 4,000 calories per day. Just most of it has been coming from the fat on your body, not the fat in your food. So the amount of calories that your body will be burning stays the same. It just comes from a different source. And then I like to use the avocado as like an example because it can be a trigger food for some. So when you are introducing new foods, say you were to introduce 4 ounces of avocado, but then if your body does not like avocado, the weight on the scale can go up by 2 pounds. It's not from the quantity of food that you have, but the inflammatory response to the food that you have. So what you'll be doing is not just learning about what foods help you maintain weight, but you'll be learning which foods cause inflammation. And so then you can take those out and just at least until you've healed a bit more, and then bring them back in from there. It is so cool. So normal to be a little bit nervous, but it totally works out. My current SIBO swim group are almost everyone's transitioning now. And it was like, I don't believe it. It's still the same. It's still the same. I was like, I know, I told you.
Okay. Okay. Is it? I can't remember. Was there like a guide in the handouts you gave me for SIBO? Because I don't remember for like the phasing out part.
Yes, yes. It's called transitioning.
Okay. Okay.
And so that'd be in your subject, but it should be in the folder already. And then for the first
Okay.
week, not too much changes apart from like the amount of calories that you're having. So whatever weight, so if tomorrow is your last day of drops, it'll probably be the same as similar today. So then you go on the Calorie King website, which will be in that transitioning document. It's also in the most important things to remember. And so then you work out your maintenance calories based on your last dosage weight. So the weight that you are tomorrow. What is doing something weird? Sorry about that.
Okay.
That's your last dosage weight, and you want to stabilize to that one for 21 consecutive days. And then, so you put that weight into the Calorie King, you enter in your height, you enter in your age, and then that brings you down. And then you enter in it asks you for your exercise level. You select sedentary, even though if you're working out or not, because it's working on your basal metabolic rate. And then that automatically goes to lose. You want to select it to maintain. And then they'll shoot out some calories, and it gives you like a 200 calorie window. So probably be between 1500 to 1700, somewhere around there.
Okay.
And so then I would take like a couple of days to get there. So the first day you could have like 800 calories and then have 1100 calories and then have 1500 calories, working your way up from there. And then I've got another handout on the foods that you can have in week 1, which foods to introduce week 2, which foods to introduce in week 3. Because your body has been we're doing 2 things at the same time. So we've been doing the weight loss and we've been doing the SIBO stuff. So I'm incorporating the weight loss foods in with biphasic diet foods, with the low FODMAP foods. So they're all quite specific in what you want to introduce when. So in terms of the weight stuff, if people get tripped up with gaining weight with inflammation, it's usually the more starchy, carbohydratey vegetables and fruits. So we're going to wait until the later stages with that. And the easiest ones to bring in are the fatty ones. So you can be having the different kind of foods for some time, and then we're going to increase the calories. And the easiest way to do that without feeling like you're eating mountains of foods is to bring in higher fat foods. Because for every 1 gram of fat, you get 9 calories. For every 1 gram of carbohydrates and protein, you get 4. So in terms of the microbiome, because we're working on all different things, in terms of the microbiome, we don't really want to have, say, more than the equivalent of 4 tablespoons of fat per day. So this is where like things like the ketogenic diet, they can be very useful as a treatment diet for some stuff, but I would never recommend anyone follow the ketogenic diet for longer than 2 or 3 months because it really does starve the microbiome.
Oh, yeah. I did that. I did just high fat.
I did it too.
High fat, and it worked for a while, and then
that's like a rebound.
Now it doesn't work. Yeah. And now here I am.
And that's super common. So a lot of people lose a lot of weight when they start doing the keto. One, because you're dropping all the carbohydrates, so you're dropping all the water content. And yeah, it does work for a bit, but then I often find that it rebounds. And because I did it for too long, it was like I painted myself into the corner with the microbiome, so then I couldn't tolerate anything because I just hadn't used it for a while. So
Okay.
First, so this will all be in your handout as well, but the first things in the first sort of week, you keep most of your veggies the same. You're just going to be introducing more fat. So that could be like 1 tablespoon of olive oil has 110 calories. That's super easy. So like 2 tablespoons of olive oil, you can put in some ghee now. That would be really good. You can change from having the egg whites into having the whole egg. And then instead of having, say, mahi, yum, I love eggs. So mahi, you could change that for 7. So choosing like the higher fat cuts of. Yeah.
I really miss salads. How long do you think it'll take before I can eat things raw again?
You could try it now. Yeah, because there's like these guidelines. But then if you think about all the gazillions of people in the world that might have SIBO, everyone's going to be slightly different. So it's about finding what works for you. And as soon as we can expand out, I want you to expand out. So any new thing that you try, just trying it in a small amount to see how it makes you feel. So down in a couple of weeks' time, I would love to bring in some lentils. I love lentils. But so if you were to have a tablespoon of lentils, that would probably be fine and you wouldn't notice any reaction. And then also, if it's something that you haven't had for a while, there can be like this level of anxiety around the food. Like it's super common to get food fear. So if you have lentils that you haven't had for 2 years, there might be like a bit of anxiety. If you have like a tablespoon, and it's fine, you can just feel the body would relax around that food. Whereas if you were to have like a whole bowl of lentils the first time, it's pretty normal that that's going to cause bloating for anybody, digestive issues or not mental. And then your body will get a little bit scared of the food. So as much as we can, we want to create this positive reinforcement when introducing new foods. So slow and steady, slow and steady, slow and steady. Super good. Yeah. The salads, you could start by having most of the vegetables in your salad cooked with some raw stuff in there and just kind of transitioning there. Most of the time, cooked food is easier to digest. Even me now, I mostly eat cooked foods because it's also very grounding if you look into the energetics of the food. So in Ayurveda, they talk a lot about cooked foods being more grounding. And then in Ayurveda, do you know much about Ayurveda? They talk about the doshas like the Vata, the Pitta, the Kapha. Have you ever heard about that?
I think I've heard of it, but I don't know much about it.
Like the Vata types are like the thin, willowy, yoga, airy, fairy types, and the Pitta types driving in the fast lane, get away.
Yeah. Okay.
And the Kapha types are very grounded and very earthy. So Vata is very airy and you can get like stimulated by different things. And the feelings that you can get if your Vata is out of balance is anxiety. So then cooked food is more grounding, so that would decrease anxiety.
Okay.
Okay. Microbials. Where are you though with those ones? Have you finished them?
So I finished on Wednesday, did the SIBO test on Thursday.
Wonderful.
So it's all in. So we'll see. But like I said, it's hard because it was a rough, I don't know. I'm like, oh my gosh, did the SIBO like spike while I had a rough week, you know? And
very common thing as well.
No.
And tested on Thursday. So it's this is another one of the reasons why I love testing, because it gives you that knowledge. Because if you don't retest and you have a little flare, it's so easy to go back into that thing like, oh no, SIBO's back. Yeah. Not every bloating is from SIBO. So you can get bloating from SIBO with the fermenting of the carbohydrates in your small intestine. You can also get bloating from inflammation. So if you're eating a food that your body has like stimulated the nerve endings, especially if there's the visceral hypersensitivity, you can get bloating from eating too fast. You can get bloating from eating while thinking about that crappy email that someone sent you and you're stressed out. There's different things that can cause bloating. Sure. So even if you have like a blip with SIBO, almost always, you're never back to where you started. So you kind of gone from there.
Okay. And then I was trying the Candida support, but I mean, I wasn't feeling good last week, so it was really hard to gauge what everything was. But I feel like it, because I was taking it with the MFP. I was supposed to, right?
Yep.
And I just like, I felt dizzy, my head felt heavy, which I mean, it's hard for me to, like, should I feel that way because so it's killing off the Candida, or, but it was to the point where I'm like, I could function very well, and it made the anxiety, or I felt even worse. Okay. So I stopped taking that, and it helped. I wasn't feeling as like terrible and run down. So I don't know if it was just too much or what. But I've taken something similar before, and I felt similar when I took that a few years ago.
Do you have a coating on your tongue at the moment?
I do a little bit. I think you saw it.
Well, it's not too bad. A little bit. Did you happen to look at it when you were taking the Candida support? Do you remember?
No, I mean, I didn't notice anything different. Now I wasn't really paying attention.
Can you poke it out again for me? And tongues are amazing. Can you see the little indents on the side there a little bit?
Wait, do what?
Can you see the indents that you've got on the side there a little bit?
I can't see it in my little tiny picture. Oh wait, now I see myself.
Can you see the little, looks like the little teeth marks on the side? Yeah, so you can check in with those ones. So this can happen if your body is dehydrated. It can also happen if your thyroid is under functioning. So the first most common thing is the dehydration. I had your thyroid, TSH was 0.8, T4 was 1.5. So yeah, I don't feel like thyroid stuff. So sometimes we can be drinking lots of water, but we're not actually getting into the cells. So if you add the little bit, are you still doing salt in your water? So salt and water.
No, it's not that because of my fingers.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could try a little bit.
How much water are you drinking at the moment?
Like 60 ounces.
In liters.
Where my water is right now. I'm really thirsty. Let me go grab it.
3 hours, 60 fluid ounces, liters. 1.7. So you could definitely have more. No, she's gone.
Okay. Yes, no, I've been really bad with the water lately. Yeah. I feel like whenever I'm anxious and not myself, I just kind of shut down and I don't know what to do, So I just
it's totally understandable. Like Joe Dispenza talks about this. So when we're in that fight or flight stress response, we lose all sense of time and space because we're just so in this moment of emergency situation. I need to deal with this. I can't deal with anything else. For me, I notice my creativity goes down. So if I'm stressed and overwhelmed, I don't want to write blog posts. I don't want to do anything. Like, no.
Yeah.
No, kind of when we're in these moments. So I've got a rule of thumb for myself. So if I am in that state for longer than 5 days and I can't fix it myself, I book a session with my coach. So if it's so having some sort of time limit on it for yourself, like and then kind of what would you do for your kids? So this would be having your water is an act of self-love. It's an act of nurturing, it's an act of self-care. So in these moments, that's when we need to extra do it, even though it's harder to do it. And it can, So then I find if you do it in the morning, you're starting your day with that intention of caring for yourself. So say in the morning, if you're feeling extra overwhelmed, locking the bathroom door, sitting on the toilet, pretending you're doing a poo, sit on the bathroom for 5 minutes and doing some deep breathing while drinking a cup of hot water with basically whatever we want to do.
Yeah. And that's what I've been missing. A lot of mornings I just wasn't getting in my water because I was trying to focus on getting my heart rate down because I wake up, just feeling panicked and nervous. So I'm trying to get back in the swing of my lemon water because it really helps me.
So even before that then, so in those moments where you open your eyes, because our cortisol is naturally higher in the morning, so that's why a lot of people can get this morning anxiety. So when you first start to kind of come back into waking time, in that moment, try and pull some things that you're grateful for, just kind of changing that mindset from there. And then I like to put my hand over my belly button and then breathing into my palm. And that's super grounding as well. And then other stuff will be easier.
Okay, that's good to know. Because I mean, I wake up and I feel good for a second, and then it's just like, ugh. So today was okay.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I can totally relate, and it's very, very common. So know that you're not alone in that one.
Okay. I'm just like waiting for the day to wake up normal.
It'll come.
It's normal again.
When we're kind of in it just feels like it'll never get better, and then it passes, and like, oh, that was rough.
Yeah.
I'm super proud of you for everything that you've been doing. You progressed so much, and it's been amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And the most intense bit's all done. So all those antimicrobials, all the things that you were doing with the food, that's the most intense that it is. So now it is so much gentler. That's kind of like the relative short and fast bit, and now this next little bit is slow and gentle. So now's the time to experiment with what foods are really good for you. And then with that diversity that I always talk about. So you've been working on rebuilding your microbiome just by doing that with the diversity through your food. And then when I get your SIBO test results back, that'll tell me which pre and probiotics that I want to use. So it's appropriate.
Okay.
And then we go into the next stage. So this is like the repair and restore stage. So repairing the gut lining. It's a really, with the foods that you're having, that's really anti-inflammatory. So that by itself helps to heal up leaky gut. But we go into the next stage with different nutrients that can help from there.
Okay. Okay. And then is it, if my numbers are still high, will I need to do another round of antimicrobials in the future? Okay.
Almost probably. It depends on the numbers in there. So you had a very high methane baseline. So that can show me like some large intestinal overgrowth from there too. Yeah, it's so dependent on those results. And I'm not going to like to speculate too much until we get them because there's just so many options from where you can go. But most of the time, even if you need to do another round, you give yourself a break. So you give your body at least 6 weeks to kind of just get stronger again. And then most of the time, if someone needs to do a second round, it's never as intense as the first round because it's not just SIBO that you've been getting rid of. So I've been getting rid of candida stuff, getting rid of some other stuff, and putting on all the good stuff. So your body is so much stronger than it was before. So often you don't need to be as specific with foods because your tolerance to other foods will have increased by now.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Woo!
And then I got the fiber. Is that something I should be taking now, or do you want me to hold off on that one?
No, you can begin taking that now. Just a quarter teaspoon. So starting super, super small. So this is the partially hydrolyzed bigum. I love it. And it's really good at the methane levels too. And it's one of the most well tolerated of the prebiotics.
Okay. I couldn't find anywhere that said guargum. So I was like, I don't know if this is the same one.
I'm really sure. Okay. Put that on I'll update your notes with that. So AC is done from there. Do you have any questions on the food? So next week is the last week of the month, so we don't have our appointment. So there'll be a handout in there on transitioning again. There'll be the foods in there as well. But just to recap, so the first week, pretty much same in terms of food. You're just going to be using more fats. And then the second week, there's a couple different vegetables that I put in there, and you can start to add in some more fruits as well. So like rock melon, kiwi fruit, pineapple, they can start to come in. And then nuts and seeds sometimes are okay in week 2, but they are a very common trigger. So just kind of, and I've got different serving sizes for them as well that I put in your notes too. So we'll just go from there. And you'll speak.
Okay. Let's see. And I have to do 3 days, like keeping things the same, you said, right? And no drops.
Yeah. And it's very common. So if you lose, and you want to stabilize to that N number within 2 pounds either side. So you don't want to go too under, you don't want to go too high, because if we go for 21 days, it works with the hypothalamus to make this your new set point weight. So it's very important from there. And in the 3 days with no drops and still lower calories, it is quite normal to drop down, and it is quite normal for that to come back. So don't freak out with that.
Okay. All right.
Amazing. Congratulations. You did it. Rocked it. Amazing.
My husband is home, and I'm going to go have some time to myself right now.
Wow.
I need to.
Yeah. That's really, really good. One of my favorite things to do. So I've got noise cancelling headphones.
I need those.
I put an eye mask on and I listen to Joe Dispenza meditations. Oh, he's so good. Joe Dispenza meditations, he's got the sound waves that put you into the right direction. He's amazing. I love him.
What is his name? Jonas?
Oh, Joe Dispenza. I'll put it in your notes.
Okay.
Love Joe Dispenza.
I wonder if that's the one I listen to.
Say it again. You got another
one? There's one guy that's really good that I listen to.
Yeah, it's all about finding someone that you like. The first time you listen to Joe Dispenza, it's very like, and now.
I think that is who I listen to. But I liked it. Yeah. I used to listen to him when I had panic attacks. Yeah.
You have panic attacks?
When I used to have them.
Oh.
And I would totally calm down.
He's amazing.
So,
Yeah, he's so good. And I just saw that there's a podcast released today with Lewis Howes. He's got the School of Greatness or the Greatness podcast. So Lewis Howes, Lewis, new word Howes. He's just released a podcast with Joe Dispenza on healing the body with your mind.
yes.
Because Joe Dispenza is a neuroscientist. So he's pretty
Okay.
cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, do you need any magnesium? Do you need any energy plus?
I don't think so. I have a new bottle of magnesium. I just ordered one, and I think I'm good. I have liver stuff. What else am I taking right now? I'm not taking. It's kind of nice about the antimicrobials.
Yeah, it's
I'm
gonna
not taking very much anymore.
no, it cuts right back down. So I just want you to take the energy plus. That's adrenal stuff. Magnesium.
Yes, I still have the vital energy.
Mhm.
Would you recommend? I did finish up when I was not feeling super great last week. I took Integrative Therapeutics Cortisol Manager. Is that something like I can take again, or do you prefer me to try not to? And
No, that's
how
did it
is
make
that
you?
okay? I'm not sure I want to order. I was trying to hold off, so
Just gonna
I'll
double
order
check.
it if I don't calm down this week.
Gonna double check the ingredients.
I threw away the bottle.
Oh no, I've got I can do it on here.
Oh, okay.
Manager. Right, and we're gonna get is that pro kinetics as well. Manager. What's in there? So we got Ruthenia, theanine, magnolia. No, that's lovely. That's fine. Yeah. It's really cool. Okay. All right, so is that all done again? And I'll see you in a week.
Okay, we'll see you.
Oh wait,
Bye.
how's the puppies?
Oh, they're all gone. They all went to their homes on
Wow.
Saturday.
That made
Yeah.
me fun. Yeah.
Yeah. They were so cute.
Horrible.
But I'm glad that's done. That was a nice relief,
Yeah.
to have them gone. But yeah. So they all had the happy homes. So they're good.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What did you one the other day?
I know, I saw all that. He's so cute. Oh, he's so cute. I can't believe he's one. He's amazing. Like, he is an incredibly smart dog.
I love him. Yeah,
He's
so
so
good.
great.
His head is
I'm
bigger
glad.
than mine.
Yeah, so happy birthday to him.
Happy birthday, Buddha.
Hi, Buddha.
All right.
All right. Well, have a good week.
See you soon. Bye, lovely.
Bye.
Bye.